Warm greetings to everyone. I am Pastor John Duarte, President of the Council of the Assembly of God. I just want to take this opportunity to testify about what this little book can really do. The transformation of my entire paternal family and the transformation of my ministerial life. I also want to take the opportunity to congratulate Gideon's International for distributing this New Testament that brings the Word of God into every home and everywhere, all around the world. So, congratulations. Today, I have the honor of testifying to the power of God written in the New Testament. In the 1960s, my parents and I lived in the rural area in the countryside of the department of San Pedro, Paraguay. Our situation was not very favorable. We were a very deprived family. During my childhood, we went through many difficult circumstances at school as well, because at my father's house, every weekend, there were rounds of drinks and rounds of cards. And so every weekend was spent with my sisters, sometimes with sleepless nights. And in that particular situation, it was indeed quite difficult as we entered into the local school and mostly attended classes barefoot. So at that specific time, there were absolutely no known Christians in that entire area, not even a single Bible. We were just regular participants of the Catholic Church with the family every single Sunday. In that situation, God performed a great miracle in my life, in the life of my family, and in my parents. Because one day, my mother went to visit a neighbor a few kilometers from our house. When she arrived there, as she testified, there was an elderly man passing through that place, and he was reading a book, a small book, and that book was a small New Testament from the Gideons. So she, curious, asked the elderly man what he was reading. And that man of God indeed stood up, truly spoke to my dear mother, and said the following: "Ma'am, if you read this book, it would truly transform your whole family and your life." And he gave you the New Testament in that condition in which my family lived, knowing nothing about Christianity and even less about the Word of God. Someone came to my house and insisted that my dear father read every day in his free time. For about 4 weeks, they read, and indeed the Word of God completely transformed my dear father and mother, who, after 4 weeks, ended the weekend gatherings of all the men. They also refused to participate in the drinking rounds, the card games, and sometimes the fights. That happened all day Saturday and Sunday. That change happened solely because of the reading of the story of Jesus from the New Testament. Later in the story of my family, of my father, it was tremendous, because although a terrible persecution was unleashed against us, against our family, my father was completely transformed. He insisted, and about actually just 2 months later, other neighbors came to ask. One night, about 10 families, 10 couples approached, and my father read the New Testament to them. 4 months later, approximately 28 people without a pastor, without a teacher, without anyone to explain it. The reading of that New Testament transformed not 10 to 12 families, which represents about 28 people, more or less. And so it began. After months and I would say years, the first congregation in that village was formed, which still exists today. I also want to testify about my own life, that at the age of 15, I came to Asunción, the capital of the Republic of Paraguay, and there I joined the army. I was in the army from the age of 15 until I was 17, and when I left the army, someone invited me to go to a church, and I went to the Church of Tel of the Assembly of God here in Asunción. There, a missionary hugged me and prophesied that I was going to be a pastor. The truth is that I laughed at him because I didn't believe it. But shortly after, God allowed me to enter the Theological Institute of the Assembly of God, where I was interned for 3 years. There, that is how God began the ministry and the calling with me. And now, currently, after forming my own home with a beautiful woman by my side 46 years ago, that we serve God and our pastors here in the capital of Asunción, I just want to highlight, before finishing, what the power of the Word is, what the Word can do, even if there is no one present. The mere act of reading a New Testament distributed by the Gideons changed my parents' entire family and much more in my life. And today we are serving as President of the Council of the Assembly of God. I thank you for this time. May God bless you. Thank you very much.